Just making absolutely sure there is zero chance of my address being put on this, because I'm home a bit earlier than usual, and now it seems like TV licensing is stepping up their game. Or at least so it seems anyway. Well, I say that loosely, considering that this letter is actually addressed the 19th of June. Oh, dearie me, this coat is a fucking bitch to sort out, isn't it? You know what? He'll be fine. Anyway, there was a couple of things, well, one thing I primarily wanted to talk about, and then this letter came through. Let me see if I can zoom this out a little bit. Or is it just not going to let me? Anyway, hello there, Ted. Hope you're doing well. So I've received another TV licensing letter. Your IN 0100 code. So apparently now, and welcome Bad Attitude as well, I've received this message. They've labelled this actually, I don't know if I can get it to be very clear, but that's the 19th of June they sent this, by the way. So nearly 10 days ago. So I'll read out what this basically says so that you can get the gist of the piss take that is TV licensing. So, dear legal occupier, an IN 0100 code has been issued against your address. We use it to target unlicensed homes like yours that require a visit from our enforcement officers. Charming, aren't they? This letter is a formal notification that your details have now been passed to the enforcement team for your area, and you could be visited at any time, day or evening, weekdays or weekends. It is a criminal offence to watch or record live TV without a license on any device. You also need a TV license to be covered for everything on iPlayer. Well, last time I checked, number one, I don't have a TV. Number two, I don't watch any programs as they're broadcast live on TV or record them. And I don't watch anything on BBC iPlayer because I'm not supporting that paedophile network. But I digress. You also need a TV license to be covered for everything on BBC iPlayer. You can be prosecuted and have to pay a fine. If enforcement officers find evidence of illegal TV viewing, here's the thing. You know what? This isn't even worth the paper it's printed on. So, have three guesses what I'm going to do with this paper now. And welcome, Paul. I hope you're doing well. I'll give you like 10-15 seconds just to have three guesses as to what I'm going to do with this paper. Which you should pretty much do for just about anything. Eat it. Very funny. No, I'm not going to eat it. It would also taste rather disgusting. Yeah, exactly. It's a criminal offence to send threatening letters and malicious communication. And I've made sure to scribble all my details out just so that it doesn't actually dox myself and what have you. But last time I checked, I've already had a whole bunch of messages. Wipe the body with it? Good guess. I'm going to do one better. Might be a bit small for toilet paper now, though, I must admit. Send it back to the twats. Yeah, I probably should, actually, and probably include a little message in there that says, it is a criminal offence to send threatening letters and malicious communication to me. Because all this is, effectively, is threats. That's all it is. That's what it boils down to. Now, I'm going to do my bit and take out the trash. Oh, and I missed the fucking bin. That shows you how shit my aim is. Christ. There we go, that's better. Anyway, that wasn't really what I wanted to do this live stream about more than anything. Oddly enough, that was just coincidence that appeared in my letterbox right now, or it was stuck in there for like 10 days or something, one or the other, but it was a great load of fun reading that out. Now I want to get on to Nigel Farage, because I think there was a hit piece that was done for him lately. Turns out, I think if this is true, then it just shows, to use, was it Carl Benjamin's term? The dirty, dirty smear merchants are literally trying every dirty trick in the book. Because it turned out this one person, he's allegedly an actor, number one, and number two, he was being riled up, shall we say, by the media. Because what they were trying to do is basically use a guy recorded saying, send the Muslims back and what have you, and Pakis and all that. Like, let me be clear. I am completely against racism. I am completely against it. 100%. And I think a lot of people could agree with that shit. But here's the thing. It's not racism to be concerned about a religion. Channel 4 hired him. There we go. Case in point. But it's not racism to criticize a religion that has now, as people have been finding out, are not exactly here to integrate with society, to assimilate. They're here to subjugate. We've seen a lot of Muslim rape gangs. We've seen a lot of Islamic terror attacks over the last few years. We've seen people in Britain who have left the Labour Party, who are Muslims, who are basically going out of their way to set up an Islamic party, who effectively want Sharia law in this country. And as Atu has rightly said, religion is not a race. Are we now going to say anybody who criticizes Christianity is a racist as well? Oh, wait, that's right. It's okay to be racist and target Christians and Jews and shit. But when it comes down to Islam, oh God, everyone throws up the fucking Islamophobe card. That's what I find so pathetic about all this. But it turns out they have been caught out in the act. These wankers trying to make reform look bad. And let's be clear, Nigel Farage has come out and completely shut that shit down, as he quite rightly should. In fact, this is another effectively indirect libelous attack on reform. That's the way I look at it. But of course the mainstream media won't tell you this. Yeah, it has to come. You know it has to. You know the drill, folks. Because say it with me. It doesn't suit the narrative. That's what these people do. The dirty, dirty smear merchants will stop at absolutely nothing. They will break laws if necessary to try and stop reform getting in. It's pure desperation on biased media outlets like Channel 4 and the BBC. They don't like the idea that Nigel Farage is potentially challenging the Labour Party. If you were to ask me 10 years ago, will UKIP be able to beat the Tories and Labour? I'd probably be like, they don't have a chance. They don't have a ghost of a chance. I'd love for them to win, but realistically, UKIP won't. Now fast forward 10 years later, and look where we are. We have two choices, basically, in the next 6 days. We either take the chance with reform, or we vote Labour and watch this country sink. And that bitch is going to sink like a guy with cement shoes on. Let me tell you. Everything that the Tories have done to this country, mostly bad, some good, admittedly, but mostly bad, let's face it, and that's really all we want to focus on, let's face it. The Labour Party is going to end up doing that tenfold. Think of bodybuilders, and then in comes Labour with the fucking set of steroids, and they're injecting that bitch. The only way that anybody with even a quarter of a brain cell is going to vote Labour is if someone's forced at gunpoint. And even then, I don't think a lot of people would even do that, because they know damn well how much of a hard lefty that Keir the Tool Starmer is. And of course it had people like Jeremy Hamas-loving Corbyn. Again, something the mainstream media will not want to tell you about. It's a shame that we have these kinds of moronic, gullible, ignorant, and downright dangerous people in the houses of treachery. I mean Parliament. Or maybe I was right first time. I'll leave that to you to decide. But what it comes down to is, in 6 days, we all have a decision to make. What to write on that paper. And I'm not talking about the crap I threw in the bin. Anyway, this is our chance to put on the ballot paper what we really want. This is our chance, and I actually said it in a video I was actually going to upload today. This is our chance to take out the trash. This is our chance to say to the establishment of traitors, we have had enough. This is our chance to say we want our country back. We are not going to allow those traitors in Labour and Tory. Well, I mean, Tories don't have a chance, really, so it's really just Labour more than anything. But we're not going to allow either of them. We're not going to allow any other party into that building, into 10 Downing Street. And as I said in one of my other videos before, Birmingham Sunday? Birmingham. You'll have to get back to me on that one. I will talk to you afterwards. Anyway, we want our country back, basically. And we're going to stop at nothing to make sure the truth is exposed, the trash is taken out, and our country is back where it should be, in the hands of patriots and people who care for us. Because last time I checked, Labour and Tory don't even give a rat's ass about us. Because if they did, they would have listened to our wishes. They would have listened to what we wanted in Brexit. What we wanted as far as a Brexit deal, i.e. we didn't want one. What we wanted as far as immigration was concerned, i.e. we want a complete freeze on it until such time as we can get our shit together. Because the way I look at it, we can't take any more people in. We've taken in probably more people than any other fucking country. And yet, all we seem to get is shit for it. Has anybody noticed that? We've done far more, humanitarianism-wise, than I would say any other damn country. We have been more open-minded about the damn Commonwealth, and we've been doing more for people who, most of them, have no legal or human right to be here, and yet we're the ones getting treated like shit. I tell you what, if they started saying that shit to me and I was Prime Minister, if I took in that many, I'd be telling them to fucking get on their bikes and piss off. Because at the end of the day, we have understood humanitarianism. We have helped people from war-torn countries. We have helped people who maybe need that genuine help. But we've also let in people who are not welcome here, in my humble opinion. The terrorists, the criminals who want to do drugs, the people who want to sponge off our system without putting anything in back. We're sick of that. We want a fucking change to that. That's what we hoped the Labour and the Tory parties would do. But they've done sweet fuck all, to put it bluntly. That's why we need a strong leader. Someone who is able to have the balls, whether up here or down there, or in my case both, to be able to take these assholes to task and say, you will not be welcome here if you come by these routes. You will not be welcome to stay here if you continue to be criminals or continue to sponge off our system. We will not tolerate people who want to erode our culture and our way of life. And we want people who are actually going to help us. Maybe I got a little carried away there. But that is more a showcase of how passionately I believe this, more than anything. We don't want the filth and the detritus that comes from the third world shitholes who are not refugees or asylum seekers, but are economic migrants. That's the thing. A lot of us, if it was just the women and the children, and they were genuinely in need of help, I'm pretty sure a lot of us would be saying, you know what? We need to help these people. We need to do this, that, and the other for them. But what we don't want are the fighting age men who could do something in their own country, but instead choose to come over here and take our taxpayers' money, our jobs, and our way of life, and basically trash it all. That's what we don't want. And I'll tell you now, when the 4th of July comes along, I'm hoping it will be Independence Day. They should all be towed back. My sentiments exactly. Not even to France, though. Because the way to look at it is this. France is in the European Union. Invasion. That's exactly what it is. But back on to the point I want to mention. As far as the European Union is concerned, and last time I checked, France is still part of the EU, but I've made this point many times in previous videos. Let's say, for the sakes of argument, there's no other countries other than France in the EU from where they're coming from. A lot of these people are coming into the UK via the English-French channel. But even in the EU's own laws and own rules, if they want to be classed as asylum seekers and refugees, they have to claim asylum in the first safe EU country they get to. As I said, last time I checked, France is still in the EU. And as said, even if they were the only country that were in the EU, I can tell you for free they're not, they would have to claim asylum there and not our country. Again, the mainstream media will not want to tell you that. But I can probably think of a few countries, if I had a minute to sit down and think, that are still part of the EU, that they would have to claim. That's exactly what international. Case in point. Like, I've done my research on this shit. Like, they have to claim refuge in the first safe country they get to. So the moment they've stepped one pinky finger, one toe into another country, refugee status gone, in my humble opinion. Do you think the establishment's going to do that, though? I don't think so. I think they're going to be more interested in being these NPCs, the woke-tards, the sheeple, who will allow these people in. No vetting checks. No criminal background checks. Whether or not they have a passport. The bottom line on this is more than anything, if they don't have a passport when they come to this country, ship them straight back. Because I guarantee you, if I went to Torremolinos, I went on holiday there twice, but if I were to go to Torremolinos again, at my older stage, I would be expected to have my passport. I would be expected to have something that could identify me. And if I didn't, I would completely expect to A, not be given entry, and B, ship back to the country I came from. So I have a head start on learning about stuff. Fair play, fair play. But I guess this proves a point more than anything. I don't care if anybody's old or young here. I appreciate everybody here. But back on point again. As I said, there are multiple countries that are still part of the EU that these people will cross over just to get to us. Now, as I've always done before as well, devil's advocate here, I accept that if people were offered £10 or £20, they would want to take the £20 or try to be cheeky and take both. But the thing is, they would want to go for what's best for them. Are they going to accept a job where they get £10,000 a year, or are they going to accept a job that gives them £40,000 a year? It's a no-brainer. The same logic applies for what country they're coming to seek a better life for themselves. So as far as that's concerned, I completely understand their logic. I completely understand it 100%. And I tell you what, I probably wouldn't be accepted into the Reform Party because of my views against Islamic people. But that's mainly because I can see what Islam is doing to our country. But I know that if I was part of that Reform Party, I'd be speaking a massive tidal wave for this area of Norwich. Guarantee it. I would bring people together. I would have people coming to their senses in this country, in this county. And bear in mind, this is a very liberal place. But I know I've got that gift, not the grift. I've got that gift to be like, people, you need to wake up. I understand your logic. I understand why you're doing this, but you need to understand X, Y, Z. Because that's how we're going to get to people. That's how you truly defeat someone. You prove their point wrong with facts and logic. No bullshit fairy tales. No fallacies of, for example, it could be worse fallacy. Or what is it, the fallacy of relative thinking or something? But you're going to beat people with facts and logic. That's the bottom line. At the end of the day, we have a choice to make in 6 days. I hope that this country starts to wake up. I hope they start to see how much abuse Nigel Farage is getting. And I hope they realise that this is merely an agenda to maliciously bring down reform. Reform, are they going to be the be-all, end-all? No, they're not. They're not going to be a permanent fix for this country. What they are going to be, however, is a far sight better than Labour or Tory or Green or SNP or wherever they are. I don't really care. They will be a far better alternative to having Labour in power. We could, if nothing else, we could have reform in for 5 years, then have people basically set up groups. Because I know Nigel Farage is not perfect. Hell, he's dissed Tommy Robinson so many fucking times and said that our movement is, well, he's basically considered us far right. We're not far right, though, as we all know. We're right so far. But Nigel Farage has refused to basically speak up in defense of us or to apologize to us. And I guess he's too proud to admit that he has a lot more in common than patriots like me and you. So he won't actually speak up about it. What it comes down to is Channel 4 have tried a hit piece. It's backfired spectacularly. Yeah, we're not far right, we're right so far. Or just right. Whichever way you want to slice it, more than anything. But that's honestly the way I look at it. They tried a hit piece. They've tried many times to do hit pieces on Farage. They've tried to spin what he says to try and twist the narrative. There's been people like Peter Mandelson who have committed libelous slander on live television, basically calling Nigel Farage a terrorist, which as I said, I sincerely hope that Nigel Farage is going to take him to the fucking cleaners quite frankly, because it would teach people like Mandelson, or again, maybe I was right first time, it will teach people like him a harsh lesson. It will teach him not to commit libelous, slanderous remarks about someone he clearly knows fuck all about. As Tao One's come in, welcome on in, I hope you're doing well. He is our best hope right now. He is our best hope. He is not our permanent solution, but he is definitely our way, the light, if you will, at the end of the tunnel. Now, just hope it's not the one of the incoming train, you know, that kind of shit. But he will at least get us out of the immediate danger. It is so important that in 6 days' time, we vote reform. As I said, and will keep saying, and cannot stress enough, this is our chance to take out the trash. This is our chance to say to them, enough is enough. It's up to us now. And if you can convince your friends, if you can convince your relatives, if they're willing to listen, if you can convince even a stranger on the street, vote reform, then that is a step closer to victory. That is a step closer to us being able to reclaim this country, because that's what it's going to take. That is what it's going to take for us to fix this country. And what's ironic is some of Just Stop Oil, I know I mentioned it in the previous video, how I've said about them, they could take out some trash to be constructive and what have you. Like, if Just Stop Oil focused a bit more on actually helping the right people, I reckon they could do a lot more good for the country. But of course they won't, because they're all a bunch of NPCs, as we all know. But it was kind of funny thinking of the idea of, oh, maybe they could get people to pick up some trash on the beaches and what have you. Just as an off-topic kind of thing. But anyway, enough about that. I think I've spoken long enough. We're coming up to half an hour, which I need to get off, and I need to do some chores. I need to set up my live stream on Twitch as well, because I'm going to be doing some gaming on there as well. I'll be under the same name as I've got here. If anybody wants to visit, after this goes up, I'll put a link in the description below to my my Twitch channel. Don't care if my family doesn't like what I do. Well, here's the thing, Attitude. Here's the thing. I come from a very, very similar case as far as that's concerned as well. Does anybody remember me when I first started my politics back in 2018? Does anybody remember the very first time that I went to London, outside the Old Bailey? I still remember it. And I did that despite my mum and my sister categorically saying, do not go to that. Of course, it was their house, their rules, and I probably should have respected it. But I had my beliefs and principles, which is what made me go there in the first place. Because there is something thicker than blood. Yeah, I got kicked out, but that was after I went to Salford, if I remember correctly. Yeah, after I got invited onto stage and then did that fantastic little swan dive off and was more worried about my crisps. That was a good day, that was. But that will always remain the best day of my life. And at the end of the day, sometimes you do have to make decisions that are going to put you at differences with your family. It hurts when that happens. It sucks when that happens. I know I felt a great deal of pain when I was getting kicked out. And because I was still younger at the time, I didn't want to understand, because it was like, I'm doing this for the benefit of the country, rather than being like, I'm just being an arsehole. And of course, I understood it later down the line, because obviously I've grown a little bit wiser, I'd like to think. And I can understand it from my mum's perspective now. But the point is, sometimes you're going to fall out with family, and you're going to end up not being able to continue relationships or continue staying with family, because I guess more than anything, they don't want to be associated with you in case it puts them in danger. I understand that completely. But we must do what is right for our country more than anything else. We must must make the right decisions for this country. Can't stress that enough. Anyway, I've spoken enough. So, thank you all so much for watching. It's been a pleasure doing this as always. I thank you all for watching the stream. I'm not sure what I'm going to do my next video off the top of my head, but just in case I haven't put the message out there as far as my recording is concerned, what will change is that I will be recording more at home or on the way home rather than first thing in the morning, because my boss did see me on the phone. I don't think he knows that I'm doing videos, but he has seen me preoccupied on my phone when they were thinking of giving me a lift to work. So, understandably, I'm having to be a little more cautious now with recording my videos, because at least I know on the way home I'm not going to potentially be seen with that shit. But yeah, do a live on Sunday from Birmingham. We'll have to see. But anyway, one last time, I'll wish you all good morning, afternoon, or evening wherever you are in the world. And yes, I am going on the 27th tentatively, as long as nothing crops up. But I'll wish you all good morning, afternoon, or evening. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye for now.